Good evening and welcome to my robotic shop makerspace. And I'm going to tell a little story or rant tonight. Long before RoboJango was built, I became obsessed with biology. Back in 1996, bioinformatics was a coined term. And I'm like, oh, this is really cool. You can do genetics and study the biology in the human body doing programming. So I went to New York Academy of Science, went to all the different sessions they had at night, learned about immunology and gene therapy and blah, blah, blah. And then I started reading about it and I coded up this engine for the scientists there. Never really got off the ground, but this is a DNA chain. And it's actually a sequence that I snagged from the thing everybody's getting a jabby for. There's the polyprotein in the ORF3A, ORF7. Those are structures that make up the virus that we're all getting poked for. So you can actually go inside my engine here and I can put in a string of nucleotides, hit submit. It's going to take a little bit, and there you go. It generated that string for me. My thiamines, adenines, and my cytosines. And actually right there is the DNA for a partial ORF ladder. Oh, look at how cool that is. So now say you got this baby, and I'm going to add it onto my platform. Let's see if this thing works. Put my camera back down here. Alright. So now you have this, and I'm going to jump into my cells. And I'm going to dive into an animal cell. Just a generic erythrocyte. Animal cell. Your karyotic cell. So here we go. We got our cell membrane, and I can drill into that, and we can see that it's got the ribosomes and the endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi apparatus. Let me just break through this wall membrane here, the bilipid membrane here. Look, we can go through a gated ion channel that's sitting right on the membrane. That's how other nutrients and different proteins enter into the cell. They'll lock onto that, and a carrier protein will come up, and it'll unlock the gate, and it'll let it in. It's really tricky. So in here we have like ribosomes and mesosomes and lysosomes and some plasmids. And I think if I drill inside this nucleus, let's see what's in here. Oh, I went right through it. So I'm going to jump out of this cell. And I guess I'll add that over here. Alright, good. Now that's added to my my palette. Now I should have like the DNA chain, and I have an animal cell. There we go. Now we got some nasty DNA, and we have a eukaryotic cell. And I can like zoom this baby up. But I'm going to go get some more components. Let's go into our virus area. Now I don't have a representation for what we have going on, but I could probably make one in an hour or so, just a rough representation. But I was like some rotaviruses. It's a good representation, and you can see there's like the proteins that are sticking out from the membrane of the cell. That's what latches on to our cells and allows it in through either an ion channel, or it actually catches on and ruptures the cell and gets inside there, lyses it a little hole through it. It's sort of like in Star Trek, the AIDS virus especially. Let me go get that baby. You know how they put on the force field, and Scotty's like, oh no, the Klingons got the modulation and they're going to like send the weapon through? Well, HIV is really clever like that. We'll send something at it to get it, and it'll actually remodulate its shell. It's super intelligent. So you go to send something in, and it's like, oh, they got my passcode. Scotty, hurry up. Change the modulation of the shell so nothing can get in. And it does. So as you can see, it has tons of spike proteins on the outside of its perimeter. And I think if I go in to the cells and find, let's see, a lymphocyte, I might be able to see something inside there. Oh, this one just has the granules. I think I have an immunology cell, the B cell. There we go. I'll tap into the B cell, because that's what's important, is when a virus or bacteria infects our cells, the macrophage actually hang on our spleen, and they live there, and they stretch out across it, and the blood comes through the spleen, and they're sitting there and they catch it all, and they're catching everything like a big spider web. And as soon as they catch something that isn't right, they release from the web, and they go into the bloodstream, and they find a B cell, and they hook up with the B cell, and they transmit information from the macrophage to the B cell and says, hey baby, you got to make this. And if you look inside this B cell, there we go, we have the antigens. See that little structure there? There you go. That's sort of like an antigen arm. And these are very interesting mathematically, because they have like I think a carbohydrate base, which is a base, and these two hooks that stick out on the Y, they're charged, and what happens is it'll mathematically do a random formula. Let me see if I can drill in there a little better. It'll do a mathematical formula on that Y right there. Yeah, there it is. It'll do a mathematical formula and run random mutations on it and generate tons and tons and tons of things. And then they'll go and mature up into your thymus, and it decides which ones are good or which ones bad. It's like the QA center. And actually 90% of all our antibodies and antigens that go up into the thymus are actually destroyed. They're no good, because it just sends tons of random mutations. Mathematically, it can produce pretty much anything in the world. That's what makes our immune system so like mathematically awesome. It just generates random numbers upon random numbers upon random numbers. And it's got those three structures of the Y, and they can all generate random numbers, which together generate unique proteins, which go up and maturate in the thymus to see if they're going to tag on to what you have or not. And then once you have that, then the B cell will store it, and the next time you get sick or infected, it knows and it starts producing it right away. It doesn't have to go through the process of maturation and creating all these different variants to see what it's going to kill the cell. So let's add this object. That's a biggie. So basically what I have here is a palette. You can put all these different things together. And how does it fit into RoboJango? So RoboJango, my buddy over there, he's an android, and androids are supposed to resemble humans as much as possible. And I can take all of BioMight's code and merge it into RoboJango so that he actually has an immune system, and he has a digestive system, and he has DNA, and he has representations of what humans have. So there's a representation of his kidneys and his liver. Or I can dig into his bronchi and check out that. Oh, there's just one bronchus. I'll jump into the organ system. Systems. So basically what we have here is the 3D engine that's out in open source, and you can like dive into all different parts of the human body. And it's not using Unity or anything like that. I wrote my own math routines. I don't even use the Java 3D math routines. I wrote my own rotations and translations. And the code is self-generating. So if I want to generate 30 feet of intestine, or 33 feet of intestine, or 28 feet of intestine, I can do that because the system is configurable. I'm just running on an old Tommy server that's sitting in my my man cave inside. So here we go. I have like a system view here. So I'll merge this in with RoboJango. So his arms are actually going to represent these femurs. And if I punch him in the arm, he can probably bruise his bone and have a representation of what's going on. When I say, "Oh, you bruised my bone, Dad," I'll say, "You don't have a bone." He said, "Well, you hit my femur or my tibia or my radius, Dad. You cracked my wrist." So this way he'll have understanding of the human biology and anatomy right down to the molecular level, because I'm going to merge the two applications together, and this will give him everything he needs to know to like understand us and understand what's going on inside of our bodies, as well as mimic inside of him what's going on inside of him. So that's about it, and have a good evening. Thank you all.